Hey, thinking outside the Longbox fans, this is Doyle, obviously, and I'm here with Kersti Bryan today. Um,
Hi.
he is one of the stars of the first episode of the new Walking Dead series that is out, an anthology series, which is something we haven't yet seen from The Walking Dead, but is, I think, a cool addition to their, gosh, nearly a decade of being on the television at this point. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
And like we said, she's also, well, we didn't say, but she told us she's in Colorado right
Yeah,
now as well, so that's pretty cool.
I, I'm visiting my fam in Colorado. This is what it looks like when you're at your parents' house
I was
with a
gonna
lot
say,
of books behind you.
I watched another interview you were on too with I forget what the guy's YouTube channel was, but you have the
Oh, that
same,
was last night.
yeah,
Yeah,
you have the same background, and I was like, man, she's a lot of books.
got a lot of books. Yeah, no, it is a family trait. I do have a lot of books, but I'm at my parents' house right now.
No, that's cool though. It's cool to spend time
Yeah,
with the family, and especially right now with a lot of us haven't been able to spend time with family the last couple of years. So, well,
exactly.
yeah, it's important to do that, I think. So,
So you got to put eyeballs on the mom and dad.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I understand that for sure.
yeah.
So, first thing I wanted to ask you and just dive into in general was, how did you get started as an actor to begin with? Like, what motivated you to pursue this path? Because it's obviously something that a lot of people look at and would be interested in, but not a lot of people go out because it is a very, I don't know, it's not peculiar, but it's like it's something that not a lot of people do. So I'm just kind of curious how you got going.
Yeah. So I fell in love with the theater first. I was in a play at Golden High School in Golden, Colorado. I played the apothecary in Romeo and Juliet. It's a pivotal role where Romeo needs the poison, and it's very important. So that I just kind of fell in love with the theater, but I also fell in love with the people, like just like the big the theater nerds. And then I ended up having some summer camp stuff where I did some more theater work, and I found my way to something called Interlochen, which was in northern Michigan. And from there, they kind of opened the idea that maybe I could go to school for this. And my parents, no way is gonna anybody allow me to study theater or acting. So I kind of, really had to make a choice, and it was a scary one. And I ended up giving it a go. And my dad gave me some good advice where, even though they might have preferred a much more, traditional path, he said, well, my dad's a geologist, so this helps give some perspective here. But that an object in motion can more quickly change direction than if you stop the object and you have to get all your energy back up again. So it's the law of inertia, basically. And so I was on this kind of passion and path, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to give this a go. And so yeah, there's been ups and downs, and I live in New York City now, and have lived in LA, and so yeah, there are days when you're like, why did I do this? And I'm gonna do something else, anything else. And then yeah, I always circle back, and I love it.
That's good. I mean, obviously important to love what you do, but it's such an interesting field as well.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of cool to hear. Like you took like a traditional like schooled path into it. I don't know if that's traditional, but like a lot of people hear about it, or like I just go to started as a child or didn't start as a child or whatever. But the other reason I
Oh
like
yeah. Yeah,
questions.
I've had
Oh no, go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I was saying the only reason I like to ask those questions
No.
to anybody that we interview is because I always want to try to show anyone who's listening a potential door for something that they maybe potentially want to do but haven't done.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
it's cool to hear, how you got there, the path that you took, that, somebody else is desiring that path, that maybe it's something they could do as well. You obviously
It's
did it, so it's possible. So
By the way, yes, it is possible, and I would never. But there are so many different ways to make this path. I have now worked with folks that were children, like they were kid actors, they were allowed to be, working at 7. And then there are folks that like moved to major markets with like a suitcase and a dream, and they like pounded it out. I went to acting school and I learned Shakespeare and Chekhov and a number, and I fell in love with that kind of piece of like the kind of the work of it. And I mean, some of my favorite classes were movement and clown. And I mean, obviously you go, how does this go into the TV work? It's just a technique but there's so many ways to go in.
It's really like, it's just interesting to me to hear. So hopefully it's for other people as well.
Doyle, are you wanting to become an actor?
I want to do everything all the time. So it's like, but then I'm also like, I got very little time. No, I mean, I really enjoy writing and drawing and things like that. It's like a different kind of thing for me. I don't know that I would actually like love being an actor. I love movies and things that actors do, but I don't quite think it's the path for me. But I do know like there's a lot of people that have these like passions and stuff that would want to pursue it and don't. And so it is cool to get anybody who has pursued it and found, success at it, to just hear like how they did it and things that motivated them. And like you said, the different, because you hear it's just a unique story from anybody that you talk to. There's like you said, there's a ton of different ways into the industry. So it's just,
there's so many different ways. And I think there's so many different ways of defining success, because I remember a mentor of mine saying, one day in the theater is a good day. So one day of you drawing, regardless of the outcome, is a good day, or doing art or writing and so I think that defining success is tough, because we have, social media, and we have, these shows and things like that. And, there have been years that I'm not working.
Sure.
And it's like, and you have to be like, okay, am I doing, my job? Am I doing what I, feel passionate about? And am I happy? Because in the middle of this, you've got to express yourself and be, open to what that looks like. And so I think, one day, expressing yourself how you wish is a good day.
Yeah, I think it's all about pursuing your passions and getting to experience those out. Like we've said it many times on like the podcast, like we do the podcast because we have like a lot of fun doing the podcast. Like,
well, it sounds like you guys have a really good time doing this podcast.
Yeah, we do. And it's like, it's not about, like our level or whatever. A lot of people would not consider like success, but like we're completely happy with it. Obviously if it grows, that'd be great. But if it doesn't work, we have a great time doing it anyway. So it's, that whole, I think people try to put themselves in that. Well, I think society tries to put people in that box. So like,
well, everybody wants to quantify you. Like everybody wants you to like be, how do you quantify success? Only you can. And at the end of the day, you're making your own podcast, and really, there are probably some comps, like some comparable podcasts that you're like, I wish we, had whatever here or there.
Sure.
You're racing, you're in your own lane, and you're nobody has your charm. You're like, like banter. Like it's like what makes like it 1% better for you guys is like the question. Yeah.
The fact that we're just friends hanging out too, which is just fun.
See, and honestly, life is so damn short, like just to be with your friends and to like talk about things you love. Can you imagine? And maybe some laughs. I think A+.
It's a good time for sure. All right. So speaking of like passion and things that you jumped into, let's talk a little bit about the short that you made, Egg Party.
Yeah, sure.
How did that project come about?
Egg Party was my first foray into directing. It was I co-wrote it and I directed it's a 10-minute short that we shot March 14th, 15th, 2020. I don't know if you remember this time. We were just before the pandemic, and the film is about 6 30-something women gathering together for a not so sober
egg decorating party, like they're decorating eggs, and each woman gets an opportunity to showcase their or like we have like kind of a whimsical portrait of each woman that's them, and then their egg and what their egg is doing. So for example, like one character, their egg is on the back burner. Another character, her egg is on are on ice. If that, you know, so it's a kind of giving a vision of that each woman has a different perspective of what she wants to do with her creativity or her fertility. And so and then what happens is that we realize that the characters have all come together to be with their friend Molly, who is struggling with miscarriage. So we weren't prepared. We've done well on the festival circuit, received a number of audience awards, and that was really moving. And it's really meant as like a warm hug for, you know, like my friends like me that are facing the question of motherhood and trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. And everybody has a different experience. And so I'm sure you're aware right now in the United States, like being an American woman has shifted wildly as of June 2022. And so we have paused our festival run, and we're going to put Egg Party online just to be shared openly, just for, you know, as our gift to say, we got you. It's a comedy, it's fun, but really it's meant to like give comfort. And what I was really surprised by, because I was like, I think it might be for folks that like, you know, are a certain age, like women. But what was interesting is I've had men come up to talk to me that are, you know, are facing the question of parenthood, saying like, I want this in my life. What do I do? Or I never wanted this. Like this like opens a question of like what I want to do. And then there's other, like my godmother spoke about, she's like, this kind of speaks to the choices I had to make at, you know, in our generation. And so I was way surprised that like it's been more, our audiences have been much more varied than we thought.
Sure. I think it's artistically it's important, and I think it's good. I think it's something I don't know, I'd highly suggest anyone go watch. But the reason that I love it so much is because it's a unique perspective in a way that I would never come to think about something on my own. But there's also zero negativity towards any group of people in it. It's just women experiencing something that women go through or think about, or something that's on their mind at this point in time. This group of women that could relate to other women, could not relate to it, could relate to anyone, but it's also not putting anyone down, or it's not like, that's a huge part of we talked a little bit about it earlier about, yes, that's a huge part of our media today. It's just like there's a positive and there's always a negative like vibe going at a people group or something, and there's none of that. It's just a 10-minute exploration of the situation that you're in, and it's just I don't know, it's a heartfelt little tidbit today. So sure. I appreciated it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for watching. Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, that is really, I agree. There's no judgment here. Like, I think for women that are pursuing motherhood, there's challenges there. There are women that don't want motherhood, and there are challenges there. Like, look, being a human is hard. It's hard enough. And I mean, I don't know how but I didn't grow up with social media. I had the benefit of like, oh man, could you imagine having to grow up with this right now? Like, I have so much compassion for these generations. Yeah, because I can't manage it like well. So how do you guide like young people through this and yeah, keep that message that this is that you're going to be, it's okay. Like, we got you.
Yeah, for sure. I think I got my first phone my junior year of high school, and it had like Snake on it, and it was definitely not social media.
Please tell me it was a flip or like a beep bop boop.
It was a brick Nokia phone with like T9.
Oh man, those things are great.
It had like a snap-on black case with like flames. It was totally something I would never have today, but at the time it was amazing.
Yeah. Do you ever wish you had your Nokia?
Sometimes it would be nice to not have the distraction, to just have a phone that was just a phone. But,
Yeah.
but social media, I can't imagine being like a kid with social media. It's like, I'm not good at it. I know you said it. I'm not good at it today personally. Juan's always harping like, we need to post more things. I'm like, I try, but I can't remember because I don't ever get on this stuff. So I was just gonna lead that into it's cool to see. Like I said, I wanted to definitely put a little bit of exposure on some of the other stuff you're doing and how you got to where you're at today. But that does lead us into like what just came out. The Dead premiere. So what was it like getting that phone call? I don't know if it's a genre like you were interested in before, but it's obviously a major television show. So not that you haven't done major work before, you've been in a few other pretty big things, but
this one took the cake in a lot of ways, because just the opportunity to work alongside Munn, like Ron Underwood directing, like these guys are just like, in my mind, like true, like in my dreams I wouldn't know if I could work with them.
Yeah.
So, and then getting a role that's so, is it okay if I give spoilers? It's okay if I don't, but
yeah, it is.
But
it's okay. We're already on the episodes. I mean, like,
yeah, we're there. So so she really takes a ride. You know, you really see a character kind of go from A to Z.
Yeah.
And I mean, what a gift. Like I can, you know, I wanted to give her as much like arc as we could possibly give her. So I think we succeeded. I have some notes, but I can. But I mean, yes, the answer is it was pretty much the best. And also, I didn't know we were going to be the premiere, so that was like,
really?
that was wild. I was like, oh, because it's an anthology series, and you could fall into any, you know, each episode sits alone, so it doesn't. They don't have to put it in the order that, you know.
That is cool though, to like not only be, you know, one of the starring characters in an episode of The Walking Dead, but to be on the first episode of a new series. Like,
yeah,
that's pretty legit.
Yeah. I feel like it might be pretty legit. I hope.
It's big praise on our end, because we've been Walking Dead fans and talked about the show on dozens of episodes since the beginning. So to any foray into the world is fun for us, because it's the type of stuff we like, and it's I don't know, to me it's been a show that probably had a lot of, in my opinion, had a lot of things stacked against it lasting a long time, but because of the writing, the directing, the cinematography, the actors, it's lasted quite a long time. So it's cool to see this new expansion into that world, and just get to see like these little points in time of, you know, things that are happening, not just based around the main characters, but obviously it's a planetary problem. So no,
I'd be curious how you all welcomed this series, because it's the fans that really, you know.
So I think both Juan and I are pretty easygoing, so we welcomed it a lot.
Yeah.
We're both, if it's fun, we like it. He's more of that than me. I'm critical, but
well, and that's the thing is, like, the good news is so much, you know, like it's just there's so many things to like explore, and like when you know so much about the world, like it's the fans that know.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that the cool thing about the world though is that like it's open. It's like, this is just an apocalyptic zombie story. It never really fully got resolved in the comic books, and we're not seeing any kind of resolution here, which is how it should be. But it's just these you know, couple characters, you know, I guess a couple year look at their life or whatever, and how I guess a pandemic of much bigger proportions goes down. What we get to see. Did you get to work much with Terry Crews and Olivia Munn on set, or any characters interact in the show? Some, and then some not. So I didn't know if there was a lot of interacting going on, but
I got an opportunity to sit with them, you know, offset, and, you know, get a sense of just how amazing they are. And so that was really great. And yes, we worked together. obviously on our scene work, and that was like, yeah. So I did, and they are the best.
Yeah, they're both genuinely great actors, I think. So it's cool.
Yeah.
But what's kind of been the most fun experience around the whole Walking Dead thing so far? Just getting to do the show or getting to work with the people?
I think the actual activity of doing the show, being able to be like, they're like, okay, so you're going to be running with a spear. And then you have like the top stunt people in the world alongside you. You have, folks that are just, that was the greatest. But I think my campaign was, I really wanted to be my own zombie. Like I really wanted to, because they could, I have a stunt double. She could have, been able to do it too. And so I was like, would you be okay if I did the zombie? Is that okay? Can we all just agree that maybe I could be the zombie? So it was my like campaign to get to play, because what other world am I going to be able to be my own zombie?
I think it's completely legitimate. I would demand nothing else.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're killing me, I want to be a zombie.
Yeah. It was very funny. It was great. Yeah.
Did because I assume there's preparation, obviously, when you get a role of some kind. Did you dive much into that world of prepping and character exists in?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I love about acting, is kind of the research piece of it. Maybe it's a family trait, but it's I did a lot of research on preppers, and also there was stylistically some things they were hopeful for Sandra. They kind of gave me some prompts of, because she could go any way. Like you look at her in the script and she could be very precise and put together. I mean, her bunker is like A+, or is she, a little wild? And so I prepared both ways, but they gave me some prompts. So I went and did a lot of research around what they were curious about, which was Mommy Dearest, which is a film. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane was something that they wanted to like explore, and The Joker. But I only had like 3 days to prepare. So I kind of went home and like you're just watching, and you let things kind of wash over you and see how they affect, because if you can be a little sponge, like some things will work, some things will not, some, it all kind of comes together in some weird, wild way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of prep time though.
Yeah. But I mean, for such a great character, man, I felt so lucky. Like give it to, I'll have it ready for you in 3 hours. I mean, I really would like it more time, please. Oh my God, give it more time. But yeah, it's and also I wanted to know Olivia's work, which is extraordinary. Terry's work, just because we jump in so fast. Like, I mean, the thing about theater is you kind of go into rehearsal and you kind of know the people you're working with very closely because you've been there in rehearsal for 2-3 weeks. When you're doing TV, sometimes like you meet the person for the first time like an hour before you're supposed to shoot the scene, and so it feels like, oh gosh, we don't have like a common language. But not only are those guys so great, that's Terry and Olivia, but just knowing a little bit about their work helps me so that I know this is the world we're in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard for me to imagine that kind of thing, because I don't interact that way with people being like,
yeah,
I'm just meeting you, yet I've seen thousands of hours of you. Specifically,
it is. It's a very weird feeling.
Yeah.
It's like meeting an old friend that you're like, I know this is inappropriate, but I feel like I know you. Like, yeah.
Oh, that's
I understand
how I would feel around.
I understand.
Like I watched so many Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Well, That show is fantastic.
It'd be like, I don't know you. I'd be like, but I
Yeah.
know you, Terry.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's really cool. And I really highly encourage anybody to go watch it. That there is, from a directing and writing standpoint, from the beginning to the end, I think you guys tell a very complete story arc, which is cool to see in one episode, which is what you want from an anthology series, because that's all you're going to get from like week to week. So it's nice when it's actually done well. And I think it was very well. You get an idea of a character going from like the fear to what ends up being the reality, I think, of their situation. So I encourage people to watch it. I encourage people to go watch it.
Yeah, I hope they will.
And before we go, do you have anything current or anything you want to direct people to?
Oh man, upcoming, I have Egg Party is going to drop online soon, so I hope folks will check that out and share that with people that you think it would give comfort to. And then I've got a couple things cooking. I'll be in the new Perry Mason coming out, I think in the winter. It's on HBO. That'll be a lot of fun, and that show's going to be insane. And then I've got a couple films in the works that are already in the can, so those will come out soon, I hope.
Sweet.
And now I need a job, so that's the next thing.
I'm sure. I think they'll probably be coming afterwards.
Okay, seems from your mouth.
It seems like you're on the right trajectory to me. I don't know much about it, but
thanks, Doyle. Thank you. But that is the thing, is that the work never stops.
Yeah.
I think that's the wonderful thing. And when you get a little bit, you have to work a little harder, which is just perfect. Like, that's great.
Well, if we ever make a movie, which is slim to none chance, we will call you. But rest assured. Yeah. Well, maybe someday we'll catch up in Denver or something like that. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, some kind of con.
If we ever come by, yeah. Man, that would be fun.
Did you get to do much on like any kind of cons or anything like that, or do you have any?
Well, they were really wanting to keep Sandra's character off the radar. She's a bit of a surprise. So I have no idea what that world brings, but man, would that be fun or what?
I'm telling you right now, you definitely could start going, because there's been plenty. There's been plenty of single episode characters that, once you're in the Walking Dead like community, I think you'd get a bigger response than you think going to a con.
Oh man. Well, I do want people to know that they should consider Sandra as their Halloween costume. That is something the beautiful Terry Crews said when he first saw me in my costume. He said, "Oh my gosh, if people don't go as Sandra for Halloween, we haven't done our job." I was like, I know.
I think it's likely.
I hope so.
Again, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Give my best to Juan.
Yeah, he's over there on the couch chilling. But again, everybody on the internet, thanks for hanging out with us. This is Sandra, or I just made up a name, Kersti Bryan. I don't know why I said
Sandra is my character name. We can be one and the same. That's totally legit.
But Kersti Bryan, and I'm Doyle, and it's been Thinking Outside the Longbox. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you guys later. Yeah, take good care.